Good morning, my dear students. We are in Unit 22, World of Microbes lesson. In the previous class, we discussed well about the microorganisms and their types. That is, bacteria, virus and fungi. And today, we will see how the microorganisms are helpful to us. Application of microbes in the field of medicine. So already we discussed well about the microbe in the field of agriculture, microbe in the field of industries. So it's over, right? Agriculture and industries are over. And today we'll discuss with microbes in the field of medicine. First, in the field of medicine, antibiotic is prepared with the help of microbe. An antibiotic is a type of antimicrobial substance active against the bacteria. So antibiotics are acting against the bacteria. It's the most important type of antibacterial agent for fighting bacterial infections, and antibiotic medications are widely used in the treatment and the prevention of such infections. They may either kill or inhibit the growth of bacteria. So if bacteria is there in our body, it causes infection in our body, right? So this infection is stopped, or the growth of the bacteria is stopped with the help of antibiotics. This antibiotic either kill the bacteria or stop the growth of bacteria. So these antibiotics are prepared with the help of microbe. That is important to be known. The first antibiotic was produced by Alexander Fleming. He is Alexander Fleming. In the year of 1929, he produced the first antibiotic. What's the first antibiotic? Penicillin. Penicillin is the important one word, children. Penicillin is the first antibiotic which was produced by Alexander Fleming in the year of 1929. In human beings, the antibiotics are used to control the infectious disease like cholera, diphtheria, pneumonia, typhoid, etc. These are the various diseases which are causing infection in our body. So this infection is stopped with the help of antibiotic. Now few antibiotics are given for you here, which are produced from the microorganism. See here, antibiotics are streptomycin, erythromycin, bacitracin, penicillin and cephalosporin. Streptomycin is prepared from bacteria, Streptomyces grisris. Streptomyces erythris, from that erythromycin is prepared. Bacillus subtilis, from that bacitracin antibiotic is produced. So these three microorganisms are kind of bacteria. Okay, and then Penicillium notatum, from that only first antibiotic penicillin was prepared. Penicillium notatum is a kind of fungi. Then Cephalosporium acrimonium, this is a kind of fungi from which cephalosporin antibiotic is prepared. So on the whole, the antibiotics are prepared from the microorganisms only. And next, vaccine. The vaccines are prepared by killing or making the microbe inactive. Very important to be known. Vaccines are prepared from the microbe only. These inactive microbes are unable to cause any diseases. So naturally, microbes are disease-causing organism, isn't it? But the microbes are made inactive and vaccines are prepared. So these inactive microbes are unable to cause any diseases, but it stimulates the body to produce antibodies which act against the antigen in the microbes. So, listen carefully children, these vaccines are prepared from the inactive microbes. That means the microbes are made inactive and from that only vaccine is prepared. When this vaccine is injected in our body, it is not causing any disease. Instead, it will stimulate the body to produce more and more antibodies. These antibodies only fight against the antigen, that is disease causing microbes, or killed with the help of antibodies. So these antibodies are naturally secreting in our body. Sometimes if it's not secreting naturally for certain kind of antigen, vaccination is given so that it stimulates our body to produce more and more antibodies. These antibodies are a kind of immunization, immune system which fight against the microbes. So, for the immune system, which kind of blood cells are very essential means white blood cell. There are three kinds of blood cells in our body, as you know: red blood cell, white blood cell, and blood platelets. Out of these three kind of blood cells, white blood cells, otherwise we say it as lymphocytes, this is playing a major role against the infection. That means a kind of defense force in our body. White blood cells are defense force in our body which produces the antibodies which fight against the disease causing microbes. Okay, two kinds of white blood cells are there: B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. These two are the antibodies which fight against the disease causing microbes. They fight against the antigen. So if these antibodies are not secreting naturally, vaccines are stimulating our cells to secrete more and more antibodies which are fighting against the microbes. Vaccine is nothing but a kind of prevention against the disease. So what does the vaccine do in our body? That inactive microbes get into our body and stimulate our body to produce more and more antibodies, and that antibodies will fight against the antigen, and in that way the infection is reduced, or growth of microbes is reduced with the help of vaccine. And next let's see microbes and diseases. Disease can be defined as an impairment or malfunctioning of the normal state of living organism. Listen children, normal functioning of a living organism is malfunctioned. That is, normal function is being disturbed. That's what we say it as disease. That disturbs or modifies the performance of vital function of our body. Our normal function is being disturbed with the help of microbe. That's what we say it as disease. The diseases are categorized based on the extent of occurrence, how it is occurred, whether it is infectious or non-infectious, that means communicable or non-communicable, and kind of pathogen, that means what kind of microorganism it is, and the transmitting agent, how it is getting transmitted from one person to the other, how it is spreading from one person to the other. Based on this only diseases are categorized. This is just important information for one word. World Health Day 7th April, World Malaria Day 25th April, World AIDS Day 1st December, World Anti-Tuberculosis Day 24th March. It doesn't do you know in your textbook page 262. These are just additional information you should know. So based on the occurrence, the diseases are classified into 4 types. Important 2-mark question again: endemic, epidemic, pandemic, and sporadic. So what are the 4 types of diseases based on the occurrence? Endemic, epidemic, pandemic, and sporadic. Endemic means what? Disease which is found in certain geographical area. That means only in certain area which is affecting a fewer number of people. So only few people are affected, but that also caused in certain area only. For example, goiter. This goiter means swelling in the neck area. Okay, so this is caused where in the sub-Himalayan region. where iodine content is less. So sub-Himalayan region. So in this area only, especially this disease called goiter is affected. That is, it is affecting only fewer number of people. That's what we say it is endemic. And next, epidemic. Epidemic means disease which breaks out and affects large number of people in particular geographical region. This is also a kind of disease in certain geographical area only, but it affects large number of people. And the previous slide we saw affecting fewer number of people in certain geographical area. This is just opposite. Large number of people are affected in certain geographical area, and it is spreading at the same time. Example, influenza. Influenza is kind of flu caused due to flu disease. Okay, so this will quickly transmit from one person to the other person, and this will affect many number of people, right? Next, pandemic. Pandemic is a disease which is widely distributed on a global scale. Global scale. Global scale means everywhere, every country, the whole world will be affected. Okay, example, AIDS, COVID-19 season. Now season is COVID-19, right? So which will spread worldwide. That is called as pandemic disease. And next one, sporadic, the disease which occur occasionally, seasonal time. Example, malaria, cholera, etc. So only during certain season, certain diseases come and go, right? That's what we say it as sporadic. Next, manifestation of diseases. All the changes develop signs and symptoms. So if there is any disease in our body, that will show certain signs. Some symptoms will be shown. This is known as manifestation of diseases. Again, important 2-mark question. For example, cough, headache or inflammation. Inflammation means swelling, or fits, vomiting. These are all kind of symptoms which are shown in our body if we are affected by any sort of microbe. And it is based on the communicability of the diseases, how it is communicable, spreading from one people to the other, or the point of entry or a place of infection, reservoir of infection, incubation period or infection. These are all to be taken into account. These are all to be known. If the disease has occurred, all this to be known. First, communicability of diseases. Communicability means already tell you how it spread from one person to the other person. So, based on that, whether the disease is infectious or non-infectious. Infectious or non-infectious means what? Spreading from one person to the other person. They are caused by external factors like pathogenic organism invading the body and causing the diseases. Example, influenza, tuberculosis. So influenza, or this is influenza is what kind of flu, that means a cough, a sneeze, all this. So this will spread from one person to the other person in a form of mucus. Tuberculosis also same way. So it will spread quickly from one person to the other person. When a person is coughing or sneezing, that liquid will get transferred from one person to the other person, and that's how the healthy person also gets affected. This is a kind of infectious diseases. So in example, influenza, tuberculosis, all these are infectious diseases. And a non-infectious disease is just opposite to that. That is non-communicable. This will not spread from one person to the other person. These are caused by internal factors like malfunctioning of internal organs, or it may be genetic cause. Genetic cause means a disease spreading from the mother to child. Such kind of diseases are non-infectious. These kind of diseases will be transferred from one generation to the other generation. Example, diabetes, hormonal imbalance or immune system defect, okay, cancer. All these kind of diseases are not communicable. It will not transmit from one person to the other person. The reasons are what? Genetic causes, hormonal imbalance or immune system defect. So these are about the communicability of the diseases. There are two kind of diseases, infectious and non-infectious. Infectious means spread from one person to the other person. Example, influenza, tuberculosis. Non-infectious means do not transmit from one person to the other person. Example, diabetes and cancer. Hope you understood, children. Next. Point of entry. Point of entry. The disease causing microbes enter the body through different means. An infection develops when these pathogens enter the human body through the contaminated air, water, food, soil, or physical touch or sexual contact, or through the infection of the animals. So these are the ways the disease enter into our body. It may be through air, water, food, soil, etc. That is point of entry. Next, reservoir of infection. Reservoir of infection refers to the specific environment in which pathogen can thrive well and multiply without causing any disease. That is reservoir of infection. So, the infection will be available which will multiply and develop and improve. It will thrive well in the body but do not cause any diseases. For example, water, soil, animal population, all these are the reservoir of the infection. We must be very careful with this while utilizing these. We must be very careful. So these are the areas where the infection gets spread. Next, incubation period. This is interval between the infection and the first appearance is called the incubation period. So infection has occurred and that will not be shown immediately in the body. It takes a certain period of time which would show symptom over the body. That's what we say it is incubation period. This may vary from few hours to several days. See, for example, if you take COVID-19 means incubation period is about 1 to 14 days. Okay, 2 to 9 days on average. So this COVID virus may enter into the body, but it would not show infection all on a sudden. It will take 1 to 14 days to show the symptom over our body. So this is about the incubation period. The infection will take certain time to develop in our body. That's what we say it is incubation period. The next, infection. Infection is what? It's an entry, development or multiplication of the infection against in the human body or else in the animals. Naturally, this microbe will make an entry into our body and cause certain kind of infection in our body. It's what we say it as infection. And next, harmful effects of microbes. Next, let's see the harmful effects of microbes. The harmful effects of microbes means the pathogens cause diseases in two ways. The pathogens, that is disease causing pathogens, that is microbes, they are really harmful to us. They cause diseases in two ways, tissue damage and toxin secretion. One is tissue damage, another one is toxin secretion. That means what? This pathogen will affect the tissue, damage the tissue and secrete more and more poisonous substances in our body. Tissue damage, many pathogens will destroy the tissues or organs in our body causing morphological and functional damage. Okay, damages are caused in our body in the tissue system. Tissue is what? Group of cells make up the tissue. So that tissues are affected. Example, bacterium of pulmonary tuberculosis damages the cells of the lungs. So tuberculosis, it's a TB disease. Okay, right. This is caused by bacteria. This bacteria will specially affect the lungs. Right, and virus causing hepatitis also tissues is the liver. So hepatitis B is a kind of disease which viral disease which affects the liver. Right, so this is how the microbes affect the certain organs, internal organs in our body. Next, toxin secretion. I told you already, this microbes will affect certain organs, that is, it affect the tissues and thereby secretes more and more toxic substances, that is poisonous substances. Many pathogens secrete poisonous substances called toxins which cause tissue damage that leads to the diseases. So that poisonous substances which are released causes disease in our body. And next, let's see airborne disease. Airborne types of diseases we are going to see now. Airborne disease first. The human beings inhale atmospheric air. If the air is affected by the microbe, that microbe will enter into our body through the air. Due to the contagious inhalation of contaminated air, the chances for airborne microorganism to find a host and cause infection are higher. So, if the infection is available in the air, if that infected air is inhaled by the healthy person, through air this microbe will enter into the healthy person, and that causes the same kind of disease will be caused in the healthy person also. So these pathogens are transmitted through droplets caused by the cough or sneeze, dust and spores. So this is a way the microbes enter into the healthy person through air. So that's what we say it as airborne disease. Some of the examples: airborne disease caused by virus. Example: cold, flu, influenza, measles, mumps, chicken pox. All these are what? Airborne disease only. So this is caused by this. This is in your textbook. Airborne disease caused by virus, page number 263. You can refer to it, children. So cold is caused by rhinovirus. Influenza is caused by myxovirus. Then measles are caused by rubella virus. Mumps is caused by myxovirus parotitis. Chickenpox is caused by varicella zoster virus. These are the kinds of viruses which are causing these kind of diseases. How the cold is getting transmitted means through the droplets in the air. Influenza, same way, droplets in the air. Then measles are caused by the droplet infection only. All the kind of these diseases are caused due to the droplets only. And what does it affect? Cold affects the respiratory tract, that is lungs. Influenza also respiratory tract. So all these kind of diseases, airborne diseases, are affecting only the lungs, that is respiratory tract, not only lungs, nose and trachea, throat, especially throat, then trachea as well as lungs. These are the areas this kind of airborne diseases are affecting. Some of the symptoms are fever, cough, running nose, etc. And due to bacteria also the diseases are the airborne diseases are happening with bacteria also. Example: tuberculosis, diphtheria and whooping cough. Tuberculosis, diphtheria and whooping cough. Please refer page 264 in your textbook, children. Tuberculosis is affected by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Diphtheria is affected by Cornic bacterium diphtheria. Whooping cough is caused by Bordetella pertussis. So these are the causative organism for these kind of diseases. How does it transmit from one person to the other person? These are all happening only because of the droplets of sputum, right? And then tuberculosis affects the lungs. Then diphtheria affects the upper respiratory tract. Upper respiratory tract means the nose, throat. Okay, whooping cough also affects the respiratory tract. So if these kind of diseases, TB or diphtheria or whooping cough are happening, means all this are affect the symptoms of these kind of diseases are cough, continuous cough, sore throat, okay, choking in the air passage, mild fever. All these are the symptoms for these kind of diseases. Kindly refer to your textbook page 264. The tabular column is there. And next, waterborne disease. So previously we saw airborne disease. It is infection is spreading through the air is airborne disease. And next is waterborne disease. And waterborne disease means the microbes which are present in the water, contaminated water, and causing various infectious diseases. Some of the waterborne diseases are cholera, typhoid, hepatitis, poliomyelitis and diarrhea, etc. So the infection, if it is spreading through water, it is called waterborne disease. Again, tabular column, page number 264 in your textbook. Waterborne diseases are caused by virus as well as bacteria. Waterborne disease caused by virus are poliomyelitis, hepatitis A and acute diarrhea. Poliomyelitis is caused by poliovirus. Hepatitis A is caused by hepatitis virus. Acute diarrhea is caused by rotavirus. These are the viruses which are causing a kind of diseases. Okay, likewise, disease caused by bacteria or cholera and typhoid. Often this question will be asked in 2 mark, right? So, the disease caused by bacteria or cholera and typhoid. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae and typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Okay, the cholera affects the intestinal tract. You know well, intestinal tract will be affected. Likewise, typhoid affects the small intestine. So, how it is getting transmitted means it is transmitting through contaminated food and water. Cholera as well as typhoid are contaminated or caused by the contaminated food and water. And then symptoms of the cholera, diarrhea, acute diarrhea, okay, vomiting, and even that is dehydration. These are all the causes, symptoms for cholera. That means for typhoid, high fever will be there, abdomen pain will be there, where the person will be seem to be very weak. Okay, rashes can be found in the chest as well as in the upper abdomen. These are the symptoms of typhoid. So, preventive measure for cholera is intake of ORS. That means loose stools will be there, no, acute diarrhea will be there. So, to avoid that, ORS solution can be taken and good sanitary condition should be maintained. And for typhoid, food should be in a good hygienic state. So, contamination of the food should be avoided. Do not keep the food open. Okay, and it can also be treated with the help of antibiotic medicine. And next, vector-borne disease. Vector-borne disease means it's caused due to a vector. Vector means carrier of infection such as mosquito or housefly, etc. About this vector-borne disease, we will discuss in the next class, right? So, so far we have discussed about a kind of diseases. 2 kinds of diseases we discussed: airborne disease and waterborne disease, and how the disease is getting entry in our body. And also we discussed well about microbe in the productivity of antibiotic and vaccine. Please scroll through your textbook, children. Understand and learn. Thank you.